Finally, let's practice the security deposit in operating lease. This is normal situation when we rent a house in a refundable deposit situation or the non-refundable. In a refundable case, deposit receivable or payable are refunded at the end of the term. But the non-refundable means the deferral of the deposit and replaced by the last lease payment at the end of the term. So in these two different cases, how do we record for the lessee operating lease and lessor's operating lease? Okay, let's start. The refundable security deposit for $5,000 paid. So for the lessee's operating lease, first let's do the cash, $5,000 out, but they have a right to receive this cash at the end of the term. So until the refund, it should be recorded as a security deposit receivable, right? Again, this case is the accrual case. The lessee still has a right to receive cash until the end of this term. Okay. Then at the end of the term, refunded, so cash received, how much? $5,000. Oh, by the way, this is also $5,000. And then the security deposit receivable should be removed because the lessee receives the cash $5,000. The lessor's point of view is totally opposite again. When the lessor received cash in a refundable security deposit, $5,000, it should be recorded as security deposit, what? Right, the payable. Because now the lessor has the obligation to pay cash. That's an accrual liability until the payment of return of this $5,000 security deposit. At the end of the term, now the security deposit payable should be reduced because now the lessor returns the cash $5,000 at the end of the term. So that's it. And then in a non-refundable case, we have to think about the deferral cases for the deposit. Because when the lessee paid this non-refundable security deposit, they haven't used this $5,000 for the service, this rental service at the end of the term replaced by the last lease payment. So we should record prepaid rent expense. Prepaid rent expense $5,000. Oh, prepaid rent expense $5,000. Then cash when they paid. Again, there's still a right to receive the service, even though the lessee pays the $5,000, but this $5,000 for the payment not this term, but the end of this term, because this amount is going to be replaced by the lease payment last term, right? So once the company, the lessee, now the non-refundable security deposit is replaced by the lease payment. Now, finally, this lessee should recognize rent expense. How much? $5,000. Because the lessee now received this service, then the lessee recognizes the rent expense. The right is no longer exist. So $5,000, the right to receive the service should be removed. Okay, the same concept, but the different direction. About the lessor for the non-refundable security deposit, when the lessor received cash $5,000, so What account do we need? What account do we need? That's correct. Now, for the last the payment, it should be for the last payment should be the paid when they started the rent, but the lessor haven't delivered the service yet, so we should record unearned rent revenue. How much? $5,000. Okay, that is the obligation, still deferred liability, obligation to provide a service, even though the lessor received the cash, but they haven't delivered the service yet. This service, $5,000 charge should be provided at the end of the lease term because it is non-refundable, and then the cash payment is going to be replaced by the last lease payment at the end of the term. And then the final term, finally, we should record rent revenue because the lessor now delivered the service. How much? $5,000. Then once the company delivered this service, provided service, this $5,000 liability should be removed. Okay, that's all. So in the security deposit, please keep it in mind that we have two cases, refundable case and non-refundable case. Refundable case, the lessee or lessor should use the accrual-based accounting, but the non-refundable case, when the non-refundable security deposit is replaced by the last lease term, then you should use right the deferred liability and deferred asset. See you in the next video clip. Bye bye.